The night was heavy with silence, the kind that presses against your chest and makes every sound sharper, heavier, more important. The street lamps flickered above, throwing broken pools of light across the cracked sidewalk. The faint hum of power, lines buzzed overhead, a mechanical chorus against the stillness of the city night. Marcus adjusted his backpack's strap as he walked. His shoes scuffed against the pavement, carrying him step by weary step toward home. He had just finished a long shift at the grocery store where he stocked shelves until closing. His hands were sore, his back ached, but his heart felt lighter knowing his paycheck would help cover his mother's medication. For Marcus, 22 years old, the night was supposed to be simple. Finish work, head home, maybe heat up leftovers, and get a few hours of sleep before the next shift. Nothing unusual, nothing dangerous. But then, red and blue lights sliced through the dark. The quiet hum of the street broke into the sharp crack of a police siren. Marcus turned his head. A patrol car slowed beside him, tires crunching against the gravelly edge of the road. From the driver's side window, a voice cut through the stillness, loud, commanding, sharp enough to make Marcus's chest tighten. "Hey, you! Stop right there!" Marcus froze. His heart thudded once, twice, hard against his ribs. He hadn't done anything. He was just walking, just existing. But Marcus had lived long enough to know that for men who looked like him, that was sometimes all it took. He raised his hands, slightly, palms out, as if to show he was harmless. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Officer, I'm just heading home from work." The car door opened. Heavy boots hit the pavement. A beam of a flashlight swung up and down Marcus's body, slicing through the shadows. The officer's partner stepped out too, one hand already resting near his holster. Marcus didn't know it yet, but the next 20 minutes would decide not just his future, but the future of a city about to be torn open. The officer barked, "ID! Now!" Marcus fumbled for his wallet, hands shaking as he pulled it from his pocket. He tried to keep his tone calm, respectful. "Yes, sir, it's right here. I work at Johnson's Grocery. Just finished my shift." The officer snatched the ID, barely glancing at it before tossing a look to his partner. "Matches the description," he muttered. Marcus blinked. "Description? Of who?" The second officer stepped closer, the smell of cigarette smoke clinging to his uniform. "Don't play smart. You're out here this late, looking nervous. Where were you really coming from?" Marcus swallowed hard. His voice broke slightly. "I told you. I was at work. Please, you can even call my boss." But his words felt weightless, sliding off the armor of authority in front of him. Across the street, a car slowed. Two teenagers leaned out, phones raised. A couple leaving a nearby store stopped and whispered. A woman pulled out her phone camera, pressing record, narrator's line. In today's world, every injustice has witnesses. But witnesses don't always mean safety. The first officer shoved Marcus against the hood of the patrol car. The cold metal bit into his chest. Marcus winced, gasping. "I haven't done anything! Please!" The officer growled into his ear. "Keep talking, and you'll regret it." Marcus's mind raced. He thought of his mother, lying at home, probably waiting for him to walk through the door. He thought of his younger brother who always told him, "Just keep your head down, Marcus. Don't give them a reason." But what reason had he given? Now, he was tired. He was hungry. He was simply walking home. If it were you, in Marcus's place, would you stay silent and hope to go home safe? Or would you speak up, knowing silence might bury you just the same? Marcus's cheek pressed harder into the cold hood of the patrol car. The metal smelled faintly of oil and old rust. He could hear the faint ticking of the car's cooling engine, a rhythm that mocked the pounding of his own heart. The officers. Weight bore down on him, one arm twisted painfully behind his back. "I said I didn't do anything," Marcus gasped. His words cracked in the air, but no one moved to help. The crowd across the street grew larger. A mother clutched her child's hand tightly, whispering for them to stay quiet. A young man in a hoodie shouted, "He didn't do nothing! Let him go!" Phones glowed like stars in the night, each lens capturing Marcus's humiliation from a different angle. Escalation. The second officer barked, "Search him!" Gloved hands patted down Marcus's pockets, tugging roughly at his clothes. His backpack was yanked open. Inside, a crumpled work apron, a half-empty bottle of water, and a paycheck stub. Nothing illegal, nothing suspicious, nothing at all. The officer scowled. Empty. He ditched it before we stopped him. Marcus twisted his head just enough to speak. His voice carried the weight of both fear and defiance. "I don't have anything to hide. You're making a mistake!" The officer slammed his palm against the hood, inches from Marcus's face. "Shut your mouth before we add resisting to the charges." The witness, Tasha. From the crowd, a woman's voice rang out. Clear, strong, unwavering. "I'm recording everything. Don't think you can cover this up." Marcus turned his head slightly, catching sight of her. A young woman, maybe mid-20s, stood tall at the edge of the crowd. Her phone was steady in her hand, eyes locked on the officers with unflinching courage. The first officer snarled, his face twisting. "Put the phone down!" But she didn't. She raised her voice even louder. "Everyone keep filming! Don't! Let them do this in the dark!" A ripple moved through the crowd. More phones lifted, more voices shouted. The tension thickened until it felt like the whole street was holding its breath. The narrator's voice slowed, pulling us away from the chaos of the present. To understand Marcus's fear that night, you have to understand his life. Because Marcus wasn't just a name on a police report. He was a son, a brother, a worker, a dreamer. Marcus at age 10, running barefoot through the neighborhood, laughing with friends until the sun dipped low. His father's voice calling him in for dinner. But then, his father's absence. A job lost. Bills piling high. The quiet anger of a man who wanted to provide but couldn't. By 15, Marcus was working odd jobs, mowing lawns, bagging groceries, anything to keep food on the table. By 18, he carried his family's hopes like bricks on his back. And now, at 22, his mother's. Health was failing. Diabetes, high blood pressure, medication that cost more than rent. Marcus worked 2 jobs, barely sleeping, determined to keep her alive. His dream? To one day own a small auto repair shop. To build something steady, honest, lasting. But in this moment, pinned against a squad car, accused of a crime that never happened, that dream felt like it was being ripped from his hands. The officers cuffed Marcus tightly, the metal biting into his wrists. The crowd roared. Shouts of, "Let him go!" echoed off the buildings. Marcus's eyes locked with Tasha's across the street. For a moment, he felt a flicker of hope. Her courage was a lifeline. The officer shoved him into the back seat of the patrol car. The door slammed shut with a metallic finality. The world outside muffled, leaving only the sound of his own breathing. Shallow, panicked. Through the glass, he saw Tasha lift her phone higher. Their eyes met once more. She mouthed the words, "I've got you." At the station, the fluorescent lights inside the police station buzzed like angry insects. The air smelled of stale coffee and disinfectant. Marcus sat in a hard chair, hands cuffed behind him while officers typed at computers. Charges: resisting arrest, disorderly conduct. Marcus's head snapped up. "That's a lie. I didn't resist." His words were cut off by laughter. "Save it for the judge, kid." His stomach sank. He thought of his mother again, alone at home, wondering why her son hadn't walked through the door. He imagined her pacing, praying, calling his phone only to hear it ring unanswered. This wasn't just about Marcus. This was about a system where the accusation alone could ruin a life, where freedom could be stolen with a single pen stroke, and where silence was often the only witness justice allowed. But beyond those walls, Tasha uploaded her video. Within hours, it spread online. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The caption, "He was just walking home. Look what they did." Thousands of views, then tens of thousands. Outrage sparked like wildfire. The city's name trended. News outlets began to call. Civil rights lawyers watched closely. Marcus didn't know it yet, but the video was the thread that could unravel the entire case. Yet, even with the video online, The system moved fast. Bail was set impossibly high. His mother couldn't afford it. Marcus sat behind bars, days turning into weeks. The walls of the cell were cold, gray and endless. A lawyer appointed to him sighed, "It's your word against theirs. These cases, they rarely win." Marcus's chest tightened. His hope flickered. Was this how his life would end? Not with violence in the street, but with a slow crushing inside the gears of a system built against him? Marcus didn't know it yet, but one brave witness and one video the world couldn't ignore were about to collide in a courtroom that would decide everything. The courthouse smelled of old wood polish and paper. Every footstep echoed through the high-ceilinged halls. Reporters crowded the entrance, cameras flashing, microphones shoved forward like weapons. Marcus, dressed in the same clothes he'd been arrested in weeks ago, was led inside by his lawyer. His wrists were no longer cuffed, but the invisible weight of them lingered. His eyes darted nervously toward the gallery. Rows of strangers, community members, activists, all watching him. His mother sat in the front row, her hands folded tightly, lips moving in silent prayer. Beside her, Tasha sat upright, phone clutched in her lap. The prosecutor rose first, crisp suit and cold tone. His words cut like glass. "Your Honor, this case is simple. The defendant, Marcus Wright, resisted. Arrest and endangered officers doing their duty. The evidence will show he was uncooperative, aggressive, and a threat." Marcus's chest burned. Aggressive? Threat? The words felt like shackles heavier than the ones he'd worn. The first officer testified next. His voice was steady, rehearsed. He matched the suspect's description. When we approached, he grew defensive. He reached toward his waistband. "We feared for our safety." The prosecutor nodded. The jury scribbled notes. Marcus whispered to his lawyer, "That's not true. I never—" His lawyer hushed him. "Patience. Our turn is coming." The weight of lies one by one, the officers painted Marcus as a monster. Uncooperative, suspicious, hostile. Each word another brick in the wall built against him. Marcus's fists clenched under the table. His mind screamed, "Why won't they believe me? Why is my truth not enough?" In America, truth often depends not on what you lived, but on who the world decides you are. Finally, the defense rose. Marcus's lawyer cleared his throat. "Your Honor, the defense calls Ms. Natasha Green." Tasha stood, shoulders squared, determination burning in her eyes. She walked to the witness stand, placed her hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the truth. "I was there that night," she began. "I saw everything." The prosecutor sneered. "Miss Green, you claim you have evidence?" She lifted her phone. "Not just a claim, proof." The lights dimmed. A screen flickered to life. The video began to play. The truth revealed. The courtroom fell silent. Marcus on the sidewalk, calm, hands raised, his voice steady. "Officer, I'm just heading home from work." The officer shoving him, slamming him against the car. The command, "Keep talking and you'll regret it." Every word, every shove, every second captured in undeniable clarity. Gasps filled the courtroom. A juror covered her mouth. The judge leaned forward, eyes narrowing. The video ended. Silence hung heavy, broken only by the faint buzz of the projector. Tasha's voice cut through. "That's what happened. Not the lies you heard earlier. That's the truth. The turning point," the prosecutor stammered, struggling to recover. "This doesn't change the fact that—" But the judge slammed the gavel. "Enough!" his voice thundered. "This court has seen the evidence. The charges against Marcus Wright are dismissed." The gavel struck again, final and echoing. For a heartbeat, the room froze. Then, cheers erupted. The gallery stood. Marcus's mother wept openly, clutching her son as he stumbled toward her. Marcus hugged her tight, burying his face in her shoulder. For the first time in weeks, he breathed without chains pressing against his chest. But as the cheers echoed, Marcus's eyes flicked toward the officers at the defense table. They stood quietly, faces unreadable. No handcuffs for them, no charges filed, no accountability. Narrator's voice cut through the celebration, somber. Marcus walked free. But justice never entered that room. The same streets awaited, him outside. The same shadows followed. The machine had released him, yes, but it had not changed. Marcus stepped out of the courthouse into blinding sunlight. Reporters swarmed, voices overlapping. "Marcus, how do you feel? Do you think justice was served?" He paused, looking out at the sea of cameras, microphones, strangers. His voice cracked but carried weight. "I feel lucky to be standing here. But I shouldn't have to feel lucky just to be alive. This has to stop. Not just for me, for all of us." His mother squeezed his hand. Tasha stood nearby, phone still in her pocket. No longer needed, but forever important. The camera lingers on Marcus's face as the narrator speaks. The year is 2025. The laws may have changed. The uniforms may look different. The language may be smoother. But the struggle looks hauntingly familiar. Marcus's story isn't unique. It's a mirror, a reflection of countless names spoken and unspoken. Names carved into headlines, into court documents, into graves. And the question that remains is how many more? Do you think filming is enough to protect people today? Or do we need stronger laws and accountability? Share your thoughts below.